King Combs had a diss track to 50 Cent. So much wrong with that sentence already. Yes, there's so much wrong with that sentence.
All that gossip whack, when all they had was 50 Cent. Who put this city on the map? Stop lying.
I feel like if Puff heard this, he would have stopped this.
Somebody should have stopped that.
Someone should have stopped this.
Think of the worst guys that you know. They know me really good.
Word on the street is that while Diddy cools his heels behind bars, his son, King Combs, might be in a way over his head. Apparently, King went to pick the wrong fight, with none other than 50 Cent himself.
All that gossip whack, when all they had was 50 Cent. Who put this city on the map? Stop lying.
Now, everyone knows 50's a beast who's gone toe-to-toe with legends, from Ja Rule to Suge Knight, and even King's own father Diddy. Just like that, though, King has gone suddenly off the grid, fueling speculations that 50 has already settled the score once and for all. So when King Combs dropped that diss in his latest track, no one thought it would just blow over.
All that gossip whack, when all they had was 50 Cent. Who put this city on the map? Stop lying.
If there's one unspoken rule in the music game, it's this: you do not, under any circumstances, come for 50 Cent.
50 Cent. So much wrong with that sentence already. Yes, there's so much wrong with that sentence.
And yet, here we are. We all know 50's had beef with Diddy for years, throwing shots whenever he gets the chance and even coming after anyone who sides with him. Diddy, being the industry veteran that he is, has mostly brushed it off, knowing well how dirty things can get. But apparently, his son Christian Combs, aka King, didn't get the memo. It seems like King has been stewing over 50's constant jabs at his dad. Maybe it's that younger pride, or the need to stand up for the family name. But either way, King clearly underestimated who he was dealing with. In his track, Pick a Side, he goes straight at 50, even referencing 50's legendary song, Many Men. King raps, Pop's been hated on by many men, and that's fine. They gonna try to stop these M's, and they gonna die trying, making it clear he's not here to play.
They gonna try to stop these Eminems, and they gonna die trying.
Bold move, definitely risky because 50 doesn't take disrespect lightly. And just like that, 50 caught wind of the track, and it's safe to say things aren't looking good for King. Anyone who knows 50 knows he's not just a rapper. He's a mogul who built his legacy on being ruthless, from the streets of Queens to global stardom. King might have thought he was just defending his dad, but now he's learning the hard way who he's messing with. True to form, 50 didn't stay silent. He responded in his signature trolling style, taking it to social media, of course. He posted a picture of Christian and Diddy on stage, sarcastically captioning it, "I feel so threatened by the things Christian is saying on his record. I'm afraid for my life. Please don't hurt me, guys. I never mentioned or posted anything about Puffy's kids because Keith D said he unalived Tupac, LOL. But 50 didn't stop there, though. He kept going, posting clips from King's song and mocking one of the more questionable lines where King said, "Suck his wood." 50 was quick to jump on that, writing, "Damn Christian Combs, is that what you told Grace O'Marquez on that boat? Gave her the puffy juice with that special sauce in it? LOL, boy oh boy, bad boy for life." And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, 50 posted another snippet from the track where King pretty much implies there's dirt on Diddy's behavior. 50, never one to miss an opportunity, responded, "Now why would you say something like this when you know the feds are investigating? Is you stupid or is you dumb? LOL, chill." At this point, it's clear King might have bitten off more than he can chew. He's trying to act tough, throwing shots like he's from the streets. But the truth is, he's a rich kid who's way out of his depth. 50's been through it all. He's battle-tested, and anyone stepping into the ring with him better be prepared for the fallout. Right now, Christian seems to have gone quiet, and the whole situation is spiraling fast. The drama's all over social media, and it's only getting wilder from here. Things might just seem like 50 is only goofing around with Kings, but anyone who knows 50 Cent knows that beneath that smile and petty talks lie a beast built by the streets.
50 Cent. So much wrong with that sentence already. Yes, there's so much wrong with that sentence.
I bought like the first 4 rows in his concert.
You bought the first 4 rows in his concert?
Yeah, they was like on Groupon for $15. It wasn't a big deal.
So when he came out, there's nobody in the first 4 rows of his concert?
50 Cent isn't just some rapper playing a part. He's lived it. His tough upbringing in South Jamaica, Queens shaped him into the unrelenting force he is today. From the very beginning, Curtis was surrounded by the harsh realities of street life. His mother, Sabrina, was deep in the game, dealing drugs to survive, and Curtis saw that world up close. When she died in a tragic fire when he was just 8, everything changed for him. With his father out of the picture, Curtis had no choice but to figure things out on his own. Raised by his grandparents, he quickly learned that if he wanted to make it, he'd have to rely on himself. He embraced the streets early on, a reality Christian Combs, Diddy's son, never had to face. By the time 50 was only 7, he was already boxing, toughening up in a neighborhood where you either fought or got beat down. That discipline was the foundation, but by the age of 12, Curtis had already taken a darker route. He started dealing drugs while pretending to attend after-school programs. He wasn't out there just playing around either. Curtis was serious about the hustle, making money and earning a name in the streets, while kids his age were worried about homework and video games. He, on the sad flip of reality, was out there bringing guns and drug money to school, stashing them away from his grandparents, who had no clue just how deep he was in the game. This is where people start to worry about Christian. While King tries to act tough in his diss track, 50 actually lived that life. He never pretended to be the good kid. He was out there selling crack on the streets, learning how to survive in a world that chewed most people up and spat them out. At one point, 50 didn't even bother hiding his illegal activities from his grandmother anymore. He straight up told her, "I sell drugs." The streets weren't just something he dabbled in. They defined him. By his teenage years, Curtis had already built a reputation for himself. At just 17, he was rolling around in a Benz with 2 guns in the car.
Like, 50 was just a wild cat. Like, 2 guns in that motherfucker. Big boy Benz riding around, and he was 18 years old, so he could still go to high school, 17.
He wasn't playing the part of a hustler. He was a hustler. Fully entrenched in the drug trade, he was surrounded by the chaos of guns, drugs, and violence. Curtis knew the rules of survival in that world, and he wasn't scared to do whatever it took. In 1994, things took a turn when he got busted for selling coke to an undercover cop. But if you thought that would slow him down, you'd be wrong. Just weeks later, the police raided his home and found crack coke, and a gun. He was sentenced to 3 to 9 years in prison, but even that didn't break him. He served 6 months in a boot camp, got his GED, and came out with the same street hustle, only sharper. He was battle-hardened and ready to continue his grind. That's why this situation with Christian Combs is making people nervous. 50 didn't just survive the street. He thrived in them. He's seen things Christian couldn't imagine. So while King might be talking tough on a diss track, the reality is he's way out of his depth. 50's been there, done that, and come out on top. He knows how to move in these situations, and King is learning fast that this isn't just a game. When you challenge someone like 50 Cent, you're stepping into a world you might not be ready for. 50 Cent didn't pick his name just because it sounded cool. The name 50 Cent is a symbol of who he had become, a man who survived by any means necessary. Inspired by Kelvin 50 Cent Martin, a notorious Brooklyn robber feared throughout the 80s, Curtis Jackson saw himself in a similar light. Just like Kelvin, he was willing to do whatever it took to survive, no matter the cost. Even after making it big in the rap game, 50 Cent's gangster roots never left him. His rise to fame wasn't all flashing lights and red carpets. It came with violence and bloodshed. In 2000, he was shot 9 times and lived to tell the tale, solidifying his legendary status. For most people, an event like that would be a wake-up call to walk away from the street life, but not 50. Instead, it lit a fire under him. 50's reputation has always been bulletproof, figuratively so, in everything he does, music, business, and the way he carries himself. He's always held on to that street mentality he learned as a hustler. He doesn't back down from anything or anyone. That's what makes him different from a lot of other rappers who play at being tough, but don't really live it. When 50 says something, he means it. Now, let's compare that to King Combs. Diddy's son has lived a life of luxury, privilege, and fame, far removed from the grit of the streets.
That's the baby boy, no baby. That's my baby boy, no baby. That's my baby boy.
He's got talent, no doubt, but in 50's world, it's a different ballgame. Growing up with a silver spoon doesn't exactly prepare you for a showdown with someone like 50. In 50's mind, there's no room for softness, no room for someone who doesn't know what real struggle feels like. King's stepping into a ring he might not be ready for. But here's the thing, 50 Cent isn't just some gangster from the streets anymore. He's built an empire. From surviving those 9 bullets to dropping his iconic debut album Get Rich or Die Tryin', 50 transformed himself into a mogul. He's got his hands in everything: music, TV, film, liquor, and more. He's still relevant and still powerful. Amidst all of this, where does King Combs fit in? He's got skills, no doubt, and he's got the connections, but stepping to 50 Cent, that's a risky move. Dissing 50 might be the biggest mistake he's made so far in his career. 50 is relentless when it comes to beef, and once he locks in on someone, he doesn't let go. Just look at what happened to Ja Rule. That beef didn't just stop at diss tracks. 50 systematically dismantled Ja's career, turning him into a punchline in hip-hop. To this day, Ja Rule has never fully recovered from what 50 did to him. So the question is King Combs heading down the same path? If he keeps pushing this beef with 50, he might find himself in a similar situation. You'd think Diddy would have warned his son about what happens when you challenge someone like 50, but here we are. And now King is just about to get whooped mercilessly. 50 Cent is infamous for taking his time with beef. He's not just about dropping a diss track and moving on. He goes all in, often finding the most humiliating ways to take his rivals down. Like the time he bought the first 4 rows of Ja Rule's concert just so they'd be empty, leaving Ja performing to a half-empty venue.
I bought like the first 4 rows in his concert.
You bought the first 4 rows in his concert?
Yeah, they was like on Groupon for $15. It wasn't a big deal.
So when he came out, there's nobody in the first 4 rows of his concert?
Then there was his public taunt of Floyd Mayweather, daring him to read a page of a Harry Potter book, mocking Floyd's literacy struggles.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read 1 full page of a Harry Potter book, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to.
These moments are exactly what King Combs might be in for if he doesn't tread carefully. 50 thrives on embarrassing people publicly, and he's mastered the art of making his enemies look foolish. It's not just about rap battles for him. He'll hit you where it hurts, dragging things out until his opponent is completely humiliated. And the thing about 50 Cent is, he's always been a fighter. From his rough beginnings in the streets, backing down has never been his style. That's the mindset King Combs is up against. A man who fights to win no matter what it takes. Now, if King Combs thinks he's dealing with just another rapper, he's in for a rude awakening. This isn't a casual back and forth. And it's definitely not just about lyrics. This is about survival, and clearly King isn't quite prepared for the reality of that. Trying to act tough or claim street credibility when you didn't come from that life is a dangerous game. And King has already fumbled by associating himself with the GDK, Gangster Disciple K.R., one of Chicago's most dangerous gangs. He made the wrong move, and it backfired. Things really started to spiral when a video of King Combs shouting GDK and throwing up gang signs linked to the Gangster Disciples hit the internet. The clip blew up fast, and before long, people were left scratching their heads asking, why is Diddy's son, who grew up in wealth and privilege, suddenly aligning himself with gang culture? It was a question on everyone's mind, especially considering that King Combs has had a life far removed from the streets. One of the first to address this was King Yella, a genuine member of the GDs who couldn't believe what he was seeing. He openly questioned King Combs' intentions, saying something like, "So I look on the internet and I see Puff Daddy's son come out saying GDK." For Yella, it made no sense. He even pointed out that with Diddy facing serious legal problems at the time, the last thing Christian Combs should be doing was pretending to be involved in street life. This wasn't the time to be playing around with something so serious.
So I look on the internet and I see Puff Daddy's son come out with GDK.
What really shocked Yella was that King Combs had actually reached out to him asking for advice on making drill music, a genre deeply rooted in the streets and the struggles of those living that life. Yella didn't hold back in his response, flat out telling Christian, "Why would you even try to involve yourself in anything GDK right now?" Basically, Yella was giving him some real advice: stay in your lane, because playing with gang culture, especially in Chicago, is not something to take lightly.
Why would you even try to involve yourself into a GDK movement or anything, gang? You was born famous and rich and famous. Like, what are you doing?
In a joking yet serious tone, Yella even added, "Don't let them GDs get with you, dude. Goofy." It was a subtle warning.
Don't let them GDs get up with you, dude. I just saw you. Then I just see you at the Lovers and Friends concert. You took a picture with me. Why you want to tell me to my face you GDK? Goofy.
But the message was clear. The gangster disciples aren't people you want to mess with, especially if you're not from that world. As the video of King Combs throwing up gang signs made its rounds on social media, the internet lit up with reactions. People were confused and, honestly, pretty critical. They couldn't wrap their heads around why someone like King Combs, who was raised in mansions, would even try to pretend to be part of a dangerous gang. One person sarcastically commented, "Screaming GDK from your pop's $12 million mansion is a form of insanity I thought I'd never witness," capturing the general disbelief. Others chimed in with things like, "I'll never understand why rich kids try to act hood," while another person threw in a wild comment, "He better shut up before Diddy catches another body," referencing the rumor about Diddy allegedly blowing up Kid Cudi's car over a love triangle. As the backlash grew louder, King Combs decided to address it head-on. He jumped on Instagram and quickly shut down the rumors, saying, "I ain't affiliated with no gangs and I'm not a gang member." It was his way of trying to put an end to all the speculation, but King Yella wasn't about to let him off that easily. In a now-deleted post, Yella responded with a sarcastically, "Thank King for cappin'," calling out King Combs for even playing around with gang culture in the first place. Yella's message was clear. You live a good life, stick to it, cause this gangbanging-ish is not where it's at. We can switch spots if you want to. He wasn't being mean, but rather offering a reality check. In fact, he even went so far as to say, "I Puffy's son, I'm proud of you, man." It was his way of pointing out the privilege King Combs was born into, and reminding him that real street life isn't something to be glamorized or faked. Yella, who's lived that life, was essentially telling him to appreciate what he has and not try to act like something he's not. In the end, Yella used this moment to highlight a bigger issue: the stark difference between people who grow up with everything and those who are struggling to survive. He made it clear that for people like him, who come from poverty, the goal is to escape the streets, not embrace them. "You were born with a silver spoon," Yella said. "If you want to be a gangbanger, let me be a millionaire, billionaire son. I'll take that." More like driving home the point that pretending to be something you're not just isn't worth it. For King Combs, the takeaway was simple: appreciate your blessings and don't throw it all away trying to live a life you weren't meant for. Yella took the opportunity to make a bigger point about privilege versus poverty. He reminded King Combs that people from poor backgrounds are fighting to escape the streets, not embrace them. "I don't want to gangbang. I don't want to live like this. I want to get the bag so I can provide for my children," Yella said, basically telling King to appreciate his privileged life instead of pretending to be something he's not. His message was simple: trying to live a life you weren't built for could end badly. If King Combs keeps going down this path, he might find himself in a situation that's way more dangerous than a beef with 50 Cent. It's not a game. And if he's not careful, he could end up paying a serious price for it.